Hello, guys. Today we're going to be talking about when cultural differences became apparent in our relationship. Let's talk.
Hello everyone. What's up guys? This
Wow,
is
what's
Sam
up?
and
What's up?
Olga.
What up, guys? Big
Welcome
ups.
back to our channel. I
Yeah.
almost said welcome back to our relationship. It's kind of true. But yeah, to everybody that's new, this is Sam and Olga. And for everybody that has subscribed and shared and liked our videos, a very big thank you to everyone.
Exactly.
So, like Sam already announced, we're going to be talking about cultural differences that came apparent to us, or when they became apparent to us, because even though we get along so well, we are also not naive to the fact that there are a lot of, huge differences in the way that we have been brought up, and, and eventually those things will come to surface, right?
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about when that became true for us.
Yeah.
And honestly, we were sitting and thinking about some of these areas in life, and we could only actually come up with one area where our cultural differences became obvious. Yeah, and and that area is actually raising our kids. Yeah, before we had our kids, no problem, okay, but those, different ways of us being, like, our upbringing, that is fueled by your culture,
Played a big role.
Played a big role right after we had kids. Okay, and not when they were babies so much, right? But mostly when they became a little bit older, and we had to start disciplining them, and that is when the first kind of, I won't call it clash, it's not a clash because we never fought about it.
I would say cultural shock.
Well, not a shock. It wasn't a shock because I was kind of thinking that it would happen. But the differences, when the differences in how we, certain expectations, came to surface when it came to the discipline of our kids, and for him, it's mostly, it's just strictly discipline. No questions, no answers. No beating about the bushes, just strictly discipline, whether that means, like a spank on the butt, or you go to your room. Even that is not even African. You go to your room is a white people thing, but
go to your room doesn't stay with us.
But what I'm trying to say is it's straight to the discipline, right? Whereas for me, it's more of, okay, discipline them, but explain to the kids why you are disciplining them. Explain why what they did was wrong. And it's more talking. It's more, I would say, psychological, right? Because me growing up, I think I was punished in terms of like being spanked once or twice at the most. But I do have to say this, it really wasn't that necessary. Yeah, because sometimes when I hear his mom telling me some of the stuff he did, I would have beaten the crap out of him too. But but we didn't do any of those things. So even the way, like, what kids do, the way they behave, how they act, I think is very different, like, from what I've even seen and what I know, right? I babysat a lot of kids, African kids, super hyper. Always trying to do stuff they're not supposed to be doing. And white kids do that too, but they do that obviously right in front of your face, so you know when you deal with it. And when you talk to them, usually they stop. But they're also not that hyper. Right? With African kids, they're super, super hyper. And as was he when he was a child, and very stubborn.
I was.
Very stubborn, and our oldest, he's very stubborn, especially when it comes to me, and that is when the cultural, that is to this day, that for him the whole discipline and everything is still very apparent today, where he's 9 years old, and for me, I still try to talk to him. It's hard for me just right out from the get-go, just punishment, right? I want, because I think for me it's also because I don't want him to do to do the right thing because he fears punishment. I want him to do those things because he knows they're the right thing to do, and I don't think he will do that if he's afraid to get punished, So that's my thinking. So I guess that's the difference.
Yeah.
You don't really think about it. You just, okay, this is wrong, punishment, that's it. It's kind of like an automated.
Yeah, no, it's not quite that.
No?
For me, what I would say is, again, like she said, she is the type of person who would, sit and talk. And by the way, it's not just her. That is, again, we're talking about cultural differences. So the cultural stuff when it comes to Western world or whites, this is how they raise their kids. And in terms of like they like to talk to their kids, and there are advantages and disadvantages, So for me, I would tell you, hey, you're not supposed to do A B C D, because when you do, this is the consequences of it, or this is what the outcome would look like, and I won't like it, so don't do it. So finish, end of story. If I come next time and you violated or just did exactly what I asked you not to do, that is where I'll say, okay, I told you that when you do this, you'll be punished. Whether go to your room or you won't, you would have a TV forbidden for a couple of days, whatever the punishment may be, that is what I would see through to make sure I give it. Because naturally, kids, they are just there to defy your powers. That is what kids are. Whatever you tell them, I don't know what psychologically or whatever it is, unconsciously,
yes means no.
Yeah, it's whatever you tell them is actually the opposite of what they want to do.
But you see, I know that. And and this is kids, that's just how their brains are. It's not their fault. That's how they are. So to me, punishment is also not always the answer.
It's not always the answer. So this is where, so we're talking about the differences for now. We'll talk about how we kind of like learn certain things from each other.
Compromise,
some of these cultures. Now, so for me, that was my side of the being a disciplinarian coming in. I tell you that this A B C D, when you do this is da 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 da. When you do finish, when you don't bite or go according to what I say and you go against it, I would have to make sure, okay, I said I will do this, I go through. Just as if I promise you something good, I would have to also honor that. So it's the same way. So for me, when I do that, then the kid realizes, okay, no, Daddy is not joking, Daddy is not playing. Daddy said this, and truly when I did that, yes, he punished me. So you know what, next time when you're going to do again, you think about it. And then, but trust me, they will do again for them to see again what you can do.
What you will do.
Or what you will do to them. And then, if you skip that and you don't try or punish them again, then they know that, okay, now that's that. Oh, okay, I just have to do a couple of times, and then he or she will get fed up. And for me, that's not the case. And typically in an African culture, that is not the case. It's actually where I was raised, that you don't talk back at your parents. When your parent tells you something, that's it. When they tell you go do, you all you have to do is yes. There's nothing like no, I won't do it. You dare not. So I was raised that, and a lot of my African brothers and sisters can attest to what I'm saying. So coming from that kind of cultural background, and now being an adult, having my own kids, it's we all learn or we take into relationships, or we when we become adult and we start living on our own and we start doing things on our own, we only pick things that we've been taught or we learn from our parents, and that's how we carry on life, and then we add little bit by bit, and that's how
and it's the same thing here. Like I said, for us, we weren't really punished in that way, but we didn't also really talk back the way that kids nowadays do. So it's kind of a challenge, because like I said, I've babysat a lot of kids, but my own, especially our oldest, sometimes I honestly I have no idea how to even deal with him sometimes because punishing him does not seem to work. It's for me it's a whole psychological thing, and I'm trying to find ways to get through to him, and I just don't believe that punishment is going to do that. Like, for example, if he talks back to me, of course I will tell him not to, and I talk to him, and sometimes I'm mad, and sometimes I yell. But I don't say, because you talk back, now you're not allowed this or this or that. I don't do that because I don't think there's a point. I don't think it works.
See, that is where I think there is.
Yeah, and
that's why I come. So now you see it. That's the clear differences that I don't. You can talk to the kid. You have to talk to the kid, but also make sure he gets the punishment because the punishment to me is a deterrent, to whatever he or she did. That would serve as a reminder, so that next time it's not about that same day or particular time he or she talked about or did something that wasn't right, but they are bound to repeat the same thing again or even worse. So next time when they're about to do that, it's a reminder that, hey, I remember when I did this thing, daddy and mommy punished me. And I didn't like it. So I won't even think about it again. And that is how.
Yeah, that's what you hope for.
Yes.
But it doesn't always work. Yeah.
So that is the first difference.
Yeah, but I mean the way we compromise is anyway. It's also depends on each situation. Yeah. Because sometimes when we both kind of analyze the situation and punishment is not really the right answer, then he will let me handle the situation.
Exactly.
But when I know that this is something that needs to be addressed like in a more disciplinary matter, then I let him take care of that.
And that's the beauty part of
there's not like a like a rule of thumb or like a this is how like a manual of how to address certain things. Every situation is different, so we just kind of play it by ear.
And also I just want to quickly say this. Most of the time I let her do her way, right? Like deal with the kid her way. So like she said, talking and doing all those sort of things, and I let her do it for a while so that she herself can see the result that comes out of it.
Yeah, I have to say, like, there's good and bad sides to it all, right? Because for him, they listen to him almost automatically, right? When he's not in the house, they think they can fool around and do stuff that they wouldn't do with his presence. But on the other hand, whenever they have problems or they have secrets, it's me that they come to tell.
Which is
Daddy doesn't know anything. What happens in school, what happens outside with the friends, things that the way they even talk. They talk to me like they. I mean, I know these kids.
Right? I'm okay with that. Like, I'm happy at least they come home and talk.
And they talk to me. So that's
when I was growing up. When I was growing up, I didn't have that relationship where I would go to school or come home and be talking to my dad in that manner. Like everything was to my mom and friends and so that part it's natural for me,
I guess.
So that's how it is.
To me, I think I told my dad more secrets than my mom actually.
Because you're a girl, you're a lady, you're.
Anyway,
that is girl, it's the opposite, and that's how it is.
I guess.
That is how it is.
But even like stuff like you would think you would talk to your mom about like your first kiss or your first boyfriend and stuff, in that area. I didn't talk to my mom about these things.
Because again, it's the opposite stuff.
Yeah. But as for my kids, they tell me stuff. Like I know things. I know what they want to be when they grow up. I know. Like, so for example, too, like when the kids behave a certain way, I know where it's coming from. So, and he won't understand why they say certain things or where it came from. But because I know, I act differently than he does, right? And so I guess that's kind of like a side effect of of how we discipline them. Or how we deal with them when it comes to
So that's how basically we compromise with each other and see to the disciplinary part of disciplinary part of the
raising
them. Yeah. So
another thing that's different between our cultures also that involves kids is basically separation versus inclusion. And by now probably it's different, but we're just talking about us in particular, because in his case it was very extreme, right? When his parents, especially when his parents had visitors, the kids had no place not even in the house. Like, forget about just go to your room and stay there, but they couldn't even be in the house. They couldn't sit on the sofa.
No, we can
be in the house.
We can be, of course.
Okay, I think your mom told me some stories that
it's just
you were even sent out of the house.
Okay, this is, I don't know, but I'm if I'm speaking, I might be speaking on behalf of African culture again. When your parents have visitors, the kids are not allowed to mingle with your parents' visitors. That's not done. Your dad or mom cannot have a visitor and then the kids come and sit whilst they're having conversation with their visitors, and the kids are there joining in.
Yeah, I remember that, and also I remember you telling me that your dad had a specific chair that he sat in, and no one was supposed to or allowed to sit in that chair. And that is completely opposite, because for us, we were always included. It doesn't, because when we had visitors, it's not that my parents had visitors, the family had visitors. So the kids, we were never sent away. Right? And the thing is too, for us, when the adults were talking about something that was adulty, that we didn't even care, we left voluntarily because we didn't even want to know. So we did our own thing most of the time anyway. But if we decided to come and sit in the living room where my parents were,
they will allow you guys.
Nobody sent us away.
That's a big difference.
We were so we were included. And then also my dad also had his chair. But when he wasn't around, we were always fighting over who gets to sit in daddy's chair, because it's special chair because it's daddy's chair. So we wanted to sit in it. And when my dad came home, it wasn't a big deal. Right? It wasn't a big deal. If I happened to sit in it, my dad did not kick me out of it and say, "This is my chair, what are you doing? Get out." That would never happen.
In our case, he will, because he's around. You know, that is where he sits. He likes to sit there. Everything is there, his books and everything is in that chair, like that side of the chair that he sits. So you know that this is where daddy sits, this is where mommy sits. The kids, you have no business. If they're not around, of course, we sit anywhere.
Right.
And we've been doing it, But when they're around, and let's say we're all in the living room watching TV or whatever it is, or movie, we can't go and sit where they are. If they are outside, like they are not in the living room, they are somewhere else, like in the balcony, whatever, and they are talking, and we are just the kids in the, of course, there we sit. But if we are all in the living room, there's no way any of us will go occupy.
Wouldn't even dare sit in that.
Are you kidding me?
No, for us it wasn't that big of a deal.
No way. So coming back to the visitors, the inclusion part of the things that she was talking about. African culture, I don't know, but specifically, okay, I'm from Ghana, so I'll talk about Ghana. It's Ghanaian culture, like where kids are not welcome. That's not a case. Kids are welcome, but a kid should know their place, and that's basically what it is.
And to you guys, it's not with adults.
Yes. Like when your parents have visitors, that's not the time the kids, you come there and sit and listening into the conversation, because usually when the visitor comes, they are talking adult conversations. What business has you as a kid to be sitting and listening in, so that next time you get out from there, and then when you're talking to your friends, you say, "Hey, by the way, so and so kid came, so and so, my dad had a visitor, or my mom had, and this is what they were talking about." That is none of your business, So that is the reason why they do that. Of course, as kids, we hated that. We didn't like, especially when we're watching movie or there's an interesting program on the TV, and they get a visitor, and we have to now go out. but
you see a big difference again, because if us kids were watching a program, my parents and their visitors went to a different room.
Yes, so either they would do that, or we would have to go, get out. So that is the part that we didn't like as kids, because what kid likes to be interrupted when he or she is enjoying an interesting program?
I think what it comes down to is just the structure. It's very structured when it comes to certain behaviors, or certain social situations. And
my dad was
in
strict.
his culture, it's very structured. Where for us, it's more free. Right.
My dad was a very strict dad. So honestly, there were not a lot of things that you can get away with. When he says this, that, and that was it. So
but like for us, I mean, with our kids,
it's our kids in general, guys. Our kids, they are very, very good kids. Like
they know their place.
They know their place.
That also doesn't mean we send them away. They're always also included, and they love it too when visitors come around. And it doesn't matter if it's just one person or a family. Like they become uncles and aunties. You know, so we do include them. And again, we've never really had that situation where they were nosy and wanted to hear what we were talking about, because they're kids. Why they're not even interested in things like that, right? But at the same time, we've already had conversations with them. I know even with Jermaine when he was still little, but old enough to still kind of they're talking about this person, and. Again, that's where the openness comes in, because before he actually went and talked about it to his friends in kindergarten, he went and he asked me. And I was able to talk to him about, look, what is being said amongst mommy and daddy, either just the two of us or with other people, stays. And it does not go out, because it can have consequences. And I give him examples. And he has never ever done anything like this.
Exactly.
So he knows, right? He's aware. Same with our daughter, same thing. When we ask them, okay, this is for home, and these things don't go outside, and they don't. And it was the same thing when I was growing up. There are certain things that stay at home that do not get out, and we've also abided by that. And
so that's the thing. I mean,
we talk to our kids, and we do include them.
We include them. Of course, like I said, the fact that we first of all outline the differences in cultures, and then we pick and choose. I pick the very good things from that culture that I know. That if I incorporate that really makes it the whole. And she also does the same thing. So vice versa. Like she picks my things that. So like she's saying, if it comes to the part where she knows that this. Where this thing is got into now, this kid needs discipline, or this person needs discipline, she doesn't hesitate, right away. She allows me to
do your thing,
do my thing, and then right away she sees results just like that.
Exactly.
So that's what I mean by we pick and choose. We don't just say, hey, this is how it's supposed to be done, and nothing else.
And just because this is what I know, that doesn't make everything else wrong. And that's where a lot of people kind of get it all twisted and confused, right? Because you also have to understand that where he comes from is different. So his point of view and the way he looks at things is different than mine. But that doesn't mean that he means bad, or he or he wishes any ill will, whatever, right? It doesn't mean any of those things. He looks at it probably with the same emotional level as me, just in different technical aspects of implementation. Right?
I mean, guys, men are more logical than where else sometimes she has to bring in the emotional part of it. So
you have to balance it.
We have to balance it,
because and that is where also communication is also so important, because sometimes when he gets really mad at the kids, and it's like, because I know where he's coming from, but at the same time, I also know that he's not the situation. He doesn't quite get the grasp of the situation. So in that case, that was not necessary. And that's when I talk to him about it, and I tell him that, look, I know why you got upset, but this and this, because also if that happens too often, then the kids will always think that anything they do is wrong, and then they also won't be free around us, or him in particular, and I don't want that. I really don't want that.
So this is very important, guys. Look at us, black and white. It's the same way the cultural differences are going to be like that. Same exact way. So if you're the type, whether the man or the woman, you are the type that you don't like change. You don't like to embrace change or compromise, or be open to. That is where clashes always comes, because I know nothing about. I wasn't born here. I know nothing about this kind of culture. So when she is doing certain things, and I don't like it, all I have to do is sit back and try to find out why.
And basically learn. It's all about learning.
Just try to find out why. Why is this so? Why are you doing this? Like one of the cultures that I like here is
one of the aspects.
Is the way they talk to kids. It's beautiful. But for me, I have to an extent,
Everything is to an extent.
Yes.
Like you also can't always talk. You can't. Depends on the situation.
I like it. It's beautiful when I see that. Like the level of the patience that they exude.
I think that's what it is.
The level of patience that they exude into the kids, and have that come down to their level and explain it. It's beautiful. I love it. I like that.
You just hit it. It's patience and coming down to their level. I think those two things is what's really lacking in African culture.
Why are you crying? So I love that part. I love it. I love it because that was I didn't grow with that kind of what do you call it?
You didn't have that relationship with your
relationship,
your parents.
exactly. Having that where they would sit you down and talk, because when they're talking to you, they are upset, so their voice is already high.
Well, they're talking down on you, and they're talking authoritatively.
So every time you do something as a kid, and you have to be punished or you have to be talked to, it wasn't that friendly manner. So when I came here, and I observed how white people talk to kids. It was beautiful. And that part I made sure I learned. I took that part and I said, okay, one day when I have kids here, I'm going to do the same. Although I was having challenges in the beginning, but I learned.
But that's how we learn.
But that's how we learn. But the part that I also don't like when you see everything that you do it too much, it also becomes something. Like. You ruin the soup. Sometimes you go to a mall, you see kids crazy, like throwing temper tantrums, and then you see the parent just, oh sweetie, you're not supposed to do that. Oh, why? Like, no, this is where even the voice has to be very stern, like. Talk to the kids. Say, hey, no, you can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do it. You're not supposed to, like everything cannot be just that smooth and rosy and like pick, the times.
And that is why I personally think that this kind of combination is perfect. Because if it was just up to me, I'd be way too soft on them.
Yes.
And if they pull tantrums, I won't know what to do.
And that's what happens.
Running my whole day.
Most of the time, parents don't know what to do when the kids pull tantrums, especially in a public place. They don't know. So I believe they act, for everyone watching to see that, oh, I'm a good parent, but when they are home, I don't think that's how they still do it, deal with the kids. But majority of the time this is what happens, but like that is the part that I personally I find it to be, be natural, because even the people watching, they can tell what's going on, they can tell what a kid is doing, So you can't. This is not where you be singing lullaby. Like just be natural. Say, hey, stop it. Don't do that. Don't like be more authoritative. Be more commanding. And that's
there are times for everything.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of them. Where working together is really the key, because kids really need both.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you have two parents that are too much of one way, then forget it. They're gonna run you like.
They're gonna run you.
You see that? Like if both parents are soft like that, then forget it. The kids are gonna run the parents' lives and trample all over them.
Yeah.
But if both parents are also too authoritative, then the kids will never trust the parents in terms of like personal stuff, and they will always be afraid somehow and feel belittled, which is also not good for their psyche. So it's good to have a good mix of both, and just analyze every situation by itself and act accordingly, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we've gone over half an hour already. Is there any more?
Yeah, but it's not really that important.
Okay, so
I think we kind of touched on
I guess
everything.
we can bring it up on the next video that we do.
Yeah.
So guys, this is just basically we want to throw more light or share with you guys what some of the cultural differences that came to surface for us.
Yeah, for us personally.
Yeah, personally.
And how we deal with it.
How we deal with it. Yes. Having said that, please, we would love you guys to tell us yours, especially those of you who are in interracial marriages or relationships.
Or different cultures.
Or even,
different cultures doesn't necessarily mean different colors.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. So please put your comments down. Tell us what you think. Tell us some of your challenges you also went through, and let's learn together. So, anything you want to say or share?
We'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
For another video. Make sure you subscribe and like and share and everything.
Yeah.
All right.
So until then, we say bis zum nächsten Mal.